got a plan. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Michelle?
Here.
Lisa? Absent? Marie?
Here.
Randy? Here. Marty's absent. John?
Here.
Megan?
Here.
Chad?
Here.
Jeremy? Could you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I make a motion for the meeting to be pro temp run
Me, Chair.
by John McCurry.
I'll call. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, John?
All right,
Your
so
meeting.
we're up. So first item of business is approval of last meeting minutes from 5/28/25.
Make that motion to approve last
I'll second.
meeting's minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's unanimous. Next would be the consent agenda. Nominations is Taylor Perkins, Riley Champagne, Sydney Michelle, Abigail Griffin, Stephanie Wington. Appointments is Stephanie Webb, Hayden Bildu. Resignations is Kimberly Bennett, Lucas Brown, Annie Moingo, Raza Tamba, Tabitha Clark, Amy Ely, Kayla Cousins, Brianna Cloutier, Alexander McCrone, Alexis Lysick, and transfers is Brittany Mennel and Kayla Nash.
So moved.
Do I have a motion? I have a second. All those in favor? That's unanimous. Lisa's back. I'll let her get settled. Next up would be superintendent report.
All right, good evening, everybody. We are winding down to the last 24 hours of school before summer vacation. I guess we're actually under 24 hours now. We've had a lot of great celebrations over the last several weeks that you've been able to attend, whether that be from our APC graduations to our athletic nights to our 8th grade promotion yesterday, or Friday night where we congratulated 175 graduates for completion, and they were able to walk across the stage. I think that is 3 or 4 years straight that we've been rained out. And so maybe at some point in time we just want to think about, I think one of the things that is challenging about the wonderful tradition at Waterhouse Field is that you do kind of set up two places, and it gets a little bit of hard, and families plan. That last minute scramble is tough, but great event indoors. I think we do a great job as well as outdoors, but very nice evening for our students. Also, we had something new. We had 10 graduating seniors from Biddeford High School earn the Maine Seal of Biliteracy this year. This first time the school offered the opportunity, and the seal recognizes students who demonstrate proficiency in English and another language, speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Colleges across Maine award up to 8 credits for this achievement, so congratulations to those 10 students. As you know, yesterday we had our kind of staff closing party at JFK. It's really a staff event to get them together. I know that Megan was nice enough to let Paulette lock the doors one last time over there. That was a great piece, but we are making our plans to move forward with that and kind of get packed up. Our outdoor track team, congratulations to them, who participated in the state championships at Lewiston High School on Tuesday night. I believe I read that they didn't finish the meet because of a high jump issue and weather, and so I don't think, as of still, the results are not in. As we head into the summer, just highlight that we have the free summer nutrition program for many of our students who face hunger and they lose access to school meals. The USDA free meals are available in designated summer sites for all children 18 and under. So we put out that information. You can look at our website for that stuff. And I guess finally, thank you to our staff and our students for another great year. I know we end tomorrow, and the hard work is appreciated. And then as we look forward to our summertime, that's when a lot of our maintenance and custodial staff are really putting in a lot of extra work, getting ready for the next year. So we wish them well in the summer and want to support them throughout that process. So thank you, guys.
I guess it's a question. It was great to go to Kennedy. I was able to take part in that, too. I was just curious, you're hiring a moving company, I assume, to do that. Are teachers having enough time to pack up everything? Because school ends and...
Yeah, teachers will have some time. The movers aren't coming until the 25th. We hope to get people, we want to move them along as quick as possible. The other piece is just knowing that the building's not, it's not going anywhere. Really also thinking about what we take and what we don't take, and we've had some conversations with people like, hey, if you're not quite sure that you're going to need it this year or the next year, let's label it, let's leave it, let's make sure that
Yeah, and that was my
we
next
have that.
question, not to interrupt you, but that was my next question, because somebody asked me about where it's all going if people don't want it, or it's not being taken. No, it's not going to be taken to the new section, because it's not new,
Right.
right? It's got to be new and matchy. So I'm just curious what's happening to that. I know there was some mats that someone asked about.
I think that we're just going to let people move first.
Okay.
See what we have, then deal with all of those pieces
As they come, okay.
I mean, there's no sense, we don't need to deal with it this summer. It's going to be sitting there. We know that the building's not being used. Probably it's going to take some time
Yeah, it's
before
gonna take time.
something's decided there. And there's no sense to rent storage when we already have it built
Okay,
in.
okay, that was my next question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Marty, you all set?
I'm all set. Thanks for running the meeting. John and Lisa, the train tracks held me up. So I understand that was committee reports?
No, we're on committee
Superintendent
reports.
We're on committee reports, okay. And do we want to run through that? And then I think there was a move afoot if the board was comfortable to go to the first reading of the policies, which is JH, just
We have to do the committee reports first.
yep. And after that, we'll go to JH. Okay, I think Finance had a meeting today, I understand?
Nope.
Nothing from Finance?
Smack, I'll get back to that, but
Okay.
nothing for finance.
And Policy? Nothing to report from Policy? Okay. Any other committees want to go straight to SMAC, or which?
Do you have anything, Marie?
I have nothing,
Okay.
other than last night went very well. Big shout out to Martha, Adam, and Eli and the 8th grade teachers for a job well done. It was a nice event.
Yeah, here. A lot of good feedback about that. Thank you. Okay, Randy.
Do you want me to give an update? Okay. The Southern Maine Administrative Collaborative Committee met earlier today. It was a great meeting. We approved the 26 budget. Right now, the projected profit is $281,000, which is fantastic. The other item of business we took care of is we voted to approve moving $500,000 of cash on hand into a CD at 4%, getting us an extra $20,000 next year. And then lastly, we voted to distribute $200,000 to Biddeford. So that's it. Chad, did you have anything you wanted to add? Okay. And I actually just want to say that these meetings are open to the public too, and I'd encourage people to come. There was a great meeting today, so that's it.
Good, thank you. Any questions for the SMAC committee? Okay, any other committee reports or anything that I missed or skipped? All right, is there comfort with jumping ahead to item JH for those first policy readings? Is the board okay with that? Okay, so we'll just take those up one by one with the letters, and if anything comes up, please bring it up. So, but under first reading of policies, ACAA R2.
Second?
Yeah, it's Moved by Michelle, and I heard Megan for a second. Any discussion? John?
Somebody want to introduce it, what we changed and why we had to do this?
The benefit of having Mr. Indorf here, that would be great. Good idea. You're good.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your question, John. The changes to this policy are as a result of an executive order signed by President Trump on January 21st, 2025. He moved the Office of Civil Rights at the Department of Education to change the rules around Title IX, and our legal counsel advised that a reversion to the Title IX policy that this board passed in 2017 would be the most appropriate change to reflect current administration policy.
Thank you.
Any questions or thoughts for Chris or anybody? Okay, all those in favor? And that is unanimous. All right, that takes us to first reading of policy GBGE-R.
Second?
Moved and seconded, moved by Michelle, seconded by Megan. Any discussion or thoughts on this? Same thing, John?
Well, that, and I got a couple of questions.
All right.
Well, I'll start with the questions, and you can explain them. So you come up. So how come it's not like two separate policies? One, return to work, and one reasonable accommodations, because I look at them as two different things. Reasonable accommodations is for disability, whether it's short-term or you're hiring a new hire. And, the other one is if you get workers' comp and you got light duty. So to me, it's two different items totally. And the light duty, it shouldn't be an option. It should be a mandatory thing. If we have somebody out on workers' comp, it should be a mandatory thing that they come back for light duty. So you don't have lost time, brings down your mod for workers' comp.
Yeah, so this is a reflection of both the change in federal guidance on workers' compensation and also our insurance policy related there too, John. This is a sample policy that was provided by Maine School Management Agency, which is an organization to which you pay dues to provide this kind of guidance. This was reviewed by our Human Resource Director and brought forward to the school committee as a recommendation. John, lack any technical expertise or kind of understanding of the inner workings of these pieces, and I'd have to punt a little bit on the why outside of MSMA recommended this and HR endorsed the changes.
I just have a problem with them being intertwined, because they are two totally different things. I mean, one is, federal and state laws on making reasonable accommodations, and the other one is on light duty and stuff for a workers' compensation thing. So, and they're intertwined, and I don't think they should be.
So
I'd like a legal opinion. Did you get a legal opinion on this?
we certainly can. And so if you, in the agenda, I provided a memo that summarizes each policy, what the changes were, if there were
Yeah.
changes made or if it's new, and whether or not it was a mandatory policy or whether it was optional. This is an optional policy, so the board does not have to have this policy at all. So John, I think you could modify the motion or make a secondary motion that sends it back to committee to bifurcate and to propose two separate policies, or to bring it back to committee, shop it to legal counsel, and come back. So there's a bevy of choices. Again, John, I'm sorry, I just don't have
Yeah.
the technical expertise in insurance or federal leave to be able to speak to those pieces.
Okay. I won't make that motion unless unless everybody's done with comments.
Michelle?
I don't know if this answers your question either, but this is the administrative regulation that discusses the procedures for the policy, so it's addressing that original policy too.
Right.
And I don't know how that's separate from that policy.
Okay.
Chris, the memo or the explanation you refer to, is that the
It's
memo?
under committee reports,
It's under,
Marty,
it's
on the
next to
agenda.
policy, yeah.
Yeah.
So Michelle, do you want to, I know I think your mic was down, which is not your fault.
It's turned on, but
Okay.
I just said that it's the administrative regulations, so it's the procedures to go ahead with the policy, GBG. Yeah, GBGE. So I don't know if that current policy is separate or not.
I don't.
What's the committee's pleasure? You want to
I'd like to table this. and
table
get
this one back to
to
policy?
committee and then let them see if this should be separated into two items or what, because in my opinion, that's what it should be.
So for the record, John, just a point of clarification. A table, a remand to committee, a shop to council,
Yeah,
and then a recommendation to come back to full board? Am I
Yeah.
understanding you right?
yeah, only because if it's light duty, I think it should say that if it's on workers' comp and it's light duty, if
Okay.
it says optional, we may or may not do it. We should automatically do it
Okay.
if it's light duty, because you want to bring the employee back to work so you don't have lost time
Mhm.
on your workers' comp.
Sure.
So that leads me to a question. So Michelle's right. This is a procedure to a policy. So that means we should also go back to address the policy, which isn't on the agenda right now, in order to make sure our policies match our procedures, right? So,
So for the regularly scheduled August meeting, the advisory committee on policy would reexamine the root policy, the core policy, and the -R, which is the administrative
Right.
regulation. In advance of that, the board is asking that the administration send this to legal counsel for a possible bifurcation.
GBGE and GBGE -R.
Correct.
Good job.
Yes. I struggled with that.
So I make that motion.
Okay, and are you seconding that, Megan?
I was just asking for clarity.
Okay. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to basically remand this back to committee for study and reference to legal counsel. All those in favor? And those opposed? Okay, it looks like that passes 4-3. Do I have that right? Somebody help me with the count. Is that right? Okay. Okay. All right, very good. Okay, that takes us to JICIA. First reading policy JICIA.
So moved.
All right.
Second.
Moved by John, seconded by Michelle. Discussion on this one? Okay, all those in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay, and that takes us to first reading of policy JLCD.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Marie, seconded by Megan. Any discussion on this one? John?
So there's one reference in here where it says no needles, and then in the next paragraph there says there's maybe a needle. I'm trying to find it now. It's kind of hard when you can't make notes on this thing. It's for when they were giving out for overdose medicine. See where it says pre-filled injectable or nasal administered, and then the paragraph above that says, define the policy, and where is it? And other non-injectable opiate overdose, under medications. So one of them says,
Looks like he's on the bottom of page 3, John?
yeah, well, it's where's medications on page 3, and then it goes down to the first paragraph on page 4. I'm just wondering if it's, one says injectable and one says not. He's got the answer.
I'm not sure I do, John, I'm sorry. I'm looking at page 3. Are we looking at the
Where it says medication, and
Yeah,
the bold, where you
non-injectable.
add it to bold.
non-injectable opioid overdose?
Yeah, and then the top of the paragraph, the next one, it could be rapidly administered emergency, including pre-filled injectable. Next paragraph.
Where's the pre-filled injectable part?
The next page, right at the top. Yeah. Right? Does say that.
So the pre-filled injectable would be like an EpiPen shot?
Right, this is.
And then, I'm sorry, and then page 4, John, is there
Yeah,
an
I'm
inconsistency?
just trying to,
So can I,
ahead.
so it seems as though one is citing a hypoglycemia issue and one is citing an overdose medication. So it looks like the medication for an opioid overdose that we're allowing as a medication is the injectable, I don't know why I can't talk today, opioid overdose reversing medication. Whereas when we're talking about, I mean, I can't say these words, but glucon rescue therapy.
Glucagon, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That would be an injectable. So I don't.
That's an
I don't-
injectable. The opioid is a nasal spray.
Right, so I think it's just that for the opioid, we're saying that we would be using the injectable. When it came to diabetes, we would be allowing it to be an injectable. So it's just like listing the two different kinds of medication.
Yes.
Not, there's a policy about needles in general, just a policy about which medications under these two different times we'd use medication.
Right, this board has previously passed a policy allowing the use of opioid reversing medications and specified in that policy that they were only nasal injected, not the epidurally injected medications. And the reason for that is because untrained personnel are currently permitted to administer, what's it
Nasal.
called? What's it called?
Narcan.
Narcan, thank you, Marty, yeah, yeah. So those are currently available for people to grab off the wall. Those are not locked medications. So any Schedule 2 or 3 substances that we have in our nurse's office are required to be double locked. And Narcan and AEDs, and in some cases inhalers, that's a little bit of a gray area, are not required to be locked, not required to be double locked, and can be administered by lay staff, untrained staff.
So it's not a policy about whether or not we use needles, it's just the definitions of which meds are covered under this policy.
Right, our diabetic kids are using needles every day. That's, yeah, we have Sharps containers. When they get filled, we bring them to the fire department. We have a disposal protocol for that.
Just for clarity, this section in this policy is definitions, and so they are defining what a medicine is, which is the injectable or non-injectable, and then another definition is the undesignated ready-to-use glycogen rescue therapy. So when further in the document they either use medicine or that, they're referring to these definitions. So
Sounds good. Are we comfortable?
we're good.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Very
Thank you,
good.
John.
Good discussion. Okay, let me see. All right, help me out, committee. So we're at new business, correct? Item
Yeah.
JA?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll carry on.
Okay, we made it through. Thank you for moving through with item H. We will jump back up under new business to item A, and that is the BPS and BIS cleaning contract.
So moved.
Second?
That's been moved by John and seconded by Marie. Any discussion on this one? Thoughts, comments?
Cleaning one?
Yeah.
Just a quick question, I
Lisa.
guess. So is this something we're doing now, right?
So we've been using this company to fill in for subs for shortage.
Yeah.
And as we just continue, Bill continues to hire and hire, and a lot of turnover. We've been very happy with the work that the cleaning company has done for us. And so we wanted to have a one-year contract that, as you can see in there, doesn't cost us any more than employees. And it sets the two smaller schools in the district on this for a one-year basis to see if this is a kind of a process that we might want to continue more of. And now we're focused on finding subs for only 2 schools versus 4 schools. I think also the other piece that we've talked about with this is those are 2 schools that don't have a lot of after-school activities. And I really feel probably a little bit more comfortable with schools that have a higher level of after-school activities, having our own employees in it. But just try something different to see if we can get a different approach on the two smaller schools, and see what the results are for the years, and it doesn't cost us any more than what it would cost us, and,
Yeah.
try something. And again, Bill's here if you have any questions, but we've had good luck with this company, and want to try
But
it
you're
out.
looking at nighttime, right? Not
Correct. Only nighttime only. The daytime custodians will be our staff members,
Okay.
working with the kids, knowing the routines, but this would be for nighttime cleaning only.
Thank you.
Love to just quickly bring Bill up since you're here. Bill, you want to come tell us about this?
So when I brought this up to Jeremy, basically, since COVID, since I've been in this role, we've really struggled with facilities and custodial support to begin with. And we've been working with 3 companies. Hello. We've been working with 3 companies basically since COVID. And this particular company is the larger of the 3. And they've provided support since COVID. We've had a good relationship with them. So my thought, in speaking with Jeremy, is we were still looking for 2 head custodians, and that process has been very slow. We've had 3 applications, I think, in 8 months, and total experience of the 3 applicants was probably 6 months of custodial, not even in a supervisory role. So that really put us in a bad place as well. And so my thought was, if being the 2 smaller schools, if we could give this a try at a cost savings or even a break-even point, which I think it will be a savings because of the amount of time that I still have to use a secondary cleaning company for call-outs. So if we've got 8 custodians in a school, I've got manpower needs for 8 people. So if I don't fill those hours, the next day I get complaints, guaranteed 100%. And I can't fill those on a routine basis. So the fact that it's break-even or potential savings, which I believe it would be, I think it was worth a try, and that is the reason that I presented it to Jeremy, with the hope that this actually benefits us. The other concern, being a loyal employee, we're not cutting any positions. We will reassign these custodians to a different school where there were still openings. And then 2 potentially would go to Saco to help them out as well. So nobody is losing a job per se, unless they choose not to go to this new assigned position that we would establish for them. So that was the process and the thinking behind this.
Questions, comments, thoughts from the committee? Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor on this one? All right, anyone opposed? All right, looks that's unanimous. Thanks for bringing this forward.
Sure.
Much appreciated. Great, that takes us to summer programming. Let me see, do we need a motion on this one?
No, this was informational from the last meeting, so the next 2 items were both on last agenda, but we carried them forward if you have any questions.
Mandy, you want to tell us about this?
I'm here ready to go. All
Well,
right.
let's hear it. Good.
So the first one about summer programming is right now we're going to be having 3 different programs running out of our Biddeford Primary School and Biddeford Middle School. The first one is Jumpstart and Blast. Those are typical, that program is for our Title I students in particular, K to 5. And we're going to be focusing on those rising students that are entering those grades for the following year. The focus is going to be on mathematics and literacy acquisition, typically for students that are below the benchmark. So we have grant funding that we received for that. Academic enrichment, there's also going to be tutoring activities available. BLAST will offer some of the fun summer programming that will get students more involved and outdoors. And then, of course, additional outdoor time and nutrition breaks. So right now, I anticipate around 75 students that will sign up, and hopefully they will all arrive and be there and stay and be in attendance throughout the program.
We've had great success when students make attendance a priority and families make attendance priority, and they attend Monday through Thursday during that time. The next one is the extended school year services. That's for students that receive special education services, the ability to provide additional programming through their IEP and allowing opportunities to engage with students further during the summer months. ML summer programming is also taking place at that time. That program is for students K to 12, and typically we're looking for students that have WIDA scores that are on the lower end. So again, we're trying to really support their acquisition of the English language, reading, speaking, writing, and listening, focusing on communication, and then really immersing them in our Biddeford community, everything that we have to offer from the downtown area to our beaches. So we have a fantastic summer staff on board. We have plans to engage families throughout this process and really looking forward to meeting the needs of our students this summer.
Megan?
I don't have a question, I have a comment. So, well, I guess one question, are you fully staffed for all three of these programs?
Working on it.
Yeah. My comment is just like how wonderful it is to have three distinct programs going on to offer summer support. And then just like my own personal story of just, my son was in Blast and it was just life-changing, academically changing for him. So I'm so glad you have so many students signed up to continue that program. So I think it's great that we've such varied programming this summer, so thanks.
Awesome. And that in particular, we've really partnered with BLAST to make this happen. So we have our Title I teachers focusing on the academics, and BLAST is focusing a little bit more on bringing those academics to fun for them during that time. So it's a really great partnership that we have.
Marie?
First of all, I love that we're offering these programs and the continuity that they provide for our students throughout the summer for their engagement in learning. But you and I talked at the last meeting, and on page 2 about family engagement, I just love that little resource bag that can go home with interactive, learning materials. We've been talking at several meetings that I've gone to with Pi and a few others, and we're always talking about how do we engage our parents. And I just think it's a great idea. I would love to see that expand beyond a summer program, because we do need to look at engaging our parents with their children's learning and not just relying on schools. Looking at the new data that's come out on the state of Maine's educational status, it's got to be more than just school. So I'm all for these, very happy to see them, and I'd like us to explore that resource bag for family engagement a little bit more.
Thank you.
You're here. Did you have something, John? No. Oh, Michelle?
I will say, Marie, I don't know what those last programs, but I know that class does happen throughout the school year, so they just ended in the 28th or so, took a little break, and then they start back up, so I don't know if that's the one you're referring to.
That do the bags, but I know they have done those bags before. I've gone to one of their lights on, lights out.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was, but I went to one of their events
Lights
in
out,
October, and a lot of parents showed up. So part of their grant is that they have to have a certain amount of parent involvement. So they're really, really good at that. I'm not sure, I can't speak to the other programs, but I sit on that board. So they do a really good job of making sure our parents are involved, so.
I'd like to see it go beyond little, these additional programs. I'd like to see it within the district to, really engage our parents. Because it's got to be more than us.
Yeah, so part of the Title I funding, there is a family engagement obligation that we have to meet. So one of the ways that we do meet it is through providing the bags during the summer for our Title I students and their families. Now, of course, that can carry over throughout the school year, but that is also going to require a different lens on allocation of resources. We need folks to put the bags together. It's more than just providing families with resources. It's now that you have these things, what are you going to do with it? And so how do we empower families to understand how to use the resources that we're sending home? That's the key. So I agree with you. That's certainly work that we can look at for next year.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else on that? All right, much appreciated, Mandy. It's a great program. Let me see, the federal title funds update, who has that one? That's you,
Mandy.
Mandy, okay, back to back, perfect, don't go far.
So as we're rolling into discussing Title I information, we did receive the preliminary allocations, which is roughly $900,000. It has decreased slightly from previous years, which I think we were bracing for and we knew about. We weren't really sure what that impact was going to be, but now that we have numbers, I think that we can come up with a solid plan based on our comprehensive needs assessment and how we're going to create our budget to utilize these funds in fiscal year 26. The required district projects are money set aside for our housing projects, our housing and secure students, supplemental instruction for literacy, and then the same thing for mathematics. Those things are important that we must have. In addition to that, we must have family engagement set aside, which I just referred to. It's not a district project, but it will happen in each one of our title schools. Our title schools that we have are Biddeford Primary School and Biddeford Intermediate School for next year. Title II and Title III funding have yet to be released by the federal government. Title II funding focuses on our class size reduction educators, as well as our professional development that we provide to our staff. So we're really hopeful to receive those numbers soon so that we can begin this plan. Title III funding focuses on our work that we do with our multilingual students, and that has yet to be released. And Title IV funding was in fact released, I think after I wrote the memo, but I added it in maybe Friday afternoon, $96,000, which is an increase from last year, which is fantastic. Title IV funding has to be placed into 3 different buckets: well-rounded educational programming, safe and healthy student programming, and effective use of technology. So there are specific requirements in terms of how we're able to utilize those funds. One of the things I want to draw your attention to is the equitable service component on the final page. Each year we are required to work with our parochial school within our district boundaries, and that would be St. James, and we are the financial manager for their piece of our Title I pie based upon the students that they serve who live in Biddeford. And so this year their equitable service has been $7,243. So overall, we're netting more than we received last year because their equitable service is in fact less than previous years. So that's something that is noteworthy. The federal grant application is due August 1st. So my hope is that we'll get those Title II and III numbers soon so that we can work on writing that grant application and have that ready to be sent into the state when they're ready for it.
Megan?
I don't have a question specific to this, but with the couple of things that you've talked about in terms of like allocating resources for family engagement, and then when I read things here about like McKinney-Vento and all of those pieces of how we support students beyond just academically. My question goes back to, and it doesn't have to be answered here, but this particular meeting, but I think what I'd like to dive in to more a little bit as we move on is the resource of our resiliency coordinators and what their role is, I think, specifically in and how we're helping support families like access resources and like what Marie was asking for, like the family engagement piece. I think the board has been presented very clearly with the Some Days and what the Some Days are, and I understand the Some Days project, and I think it's probably a very time-consuming piece of what resiliency coordinators do, but like beyond that, when we're talking about all the other the pieces missing, I think, for our students and allocating resources, I'd just kind of like to see where they fit into that piece, because who else is going to pick up some of the pieces that you're talking about that we know are so clearly needed.
Absolutely.
So I think I want to hear more about that role beyond it being the some days.
Sure.
So that can be something we discuss in the future.
Thanks.
You also just need to be prepared that if those other numbers don't come in at the level that we had hoped, we could have some tough decisions of figuring out how to shuffle all the pieces, because we always have this information by now, and that's the scary piece, is that we don't have the information from the DOE about what Title II, because 187,000 is a big chunk. We lose $50,000, and a lot of that is funding teachers. We're going to have some conversations of where we're going to pull some of those funds from. There's a lot of money sitting out there on the table, and when you get even when you see an allocation of decrease in Title I of $3,700, it doesn't seem like a lot, but your health insurance and salaries still went up. So we've got to look at what comes in the other ones so that we can reorganize and figure out how we fund those.
Right, I understand that, and I think that's why I really want to get a good sense of so I feel like I know what teachers do. And certainly I don't know what everything teachers do and what admin do. I think some of the more creative positions we have in the district in terms of resiliency coordinators, and you have two, so there's resiliency coordinators, and is there another name that you have in terms of okay, so your resiliency coordinators do your truancy and your some days, right?
Yep.
And so I think when we talk exactly about this, right, budget cuts and reduces in grants and those it's you got to do more with less. And so, I think some days are great, but I think maybe there has to be, some reallocating of what those resources look like, because we do have this very special position in here, and the need is just so great. So that's why I think I want to dive in more to make sure I understand what that role is outside of what's been presented to the board.
Okay, thank you. Anything further on this? John? Oh,
Over there.
Lisa, and then Michelle.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think we brought this up before, and I think I've learned, I didn't know that they did a lot of truancy work, but I think it's different for every building what they do. So a someday at the high school might look, I don't even know what it looks like. Maybe in elementary it's fine, but I do know it takes a lot of their time, and is it productive way of using that position? I know that some days were tied to the resiliency people, but then they ended up doing all kinds of other things because they were filling holes everywhere. So maybe to kind of nail down what they do for each building, and is there a need for every building to have a resiliency person? I guess that's the question. I know we talked about this before, haven't we? That's why when you brought it up, it was coming back to me, because it was the truancy piece that I had no idea that they were working on that.
Well, and I'm not sure that is the case, right?
I think
don't-
one school it is. I don't know if it's the high school only, because I heard that when I was visiting a school, and I always thought it was if they had a resource officer, he was part of doing the truancy piece too, but he's not at all. So if he's not doing it, if we didn't have resiliency people, who would be doing I thought we had a truancy person at the high school. So
It'd be another task that goes to administration.
another
of
task that
making
would go to
sure that,
administration.
the kids are in school. I mean, that's a big piece is, again, when you look at all of the social services plus meeting the IEPs that a social worker does, and then a lot of those are, you don't have a lot of general ed social work pieces that come into that. I think our social needs pretty much take up a lot of time by a lot of different folks in our buildings. But whether it's from getting kids to school, to getting kids clothes, to getting kids fed, to helping families with navigating housing concerns, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Right, but I think my concern then is that, and again, I'm not against the Some Days program in any way, but how much of their time that could be going to those needs is a struggle to find time because they're implementing the Some Days. And so what I think that I'd be looking for a breakdown from each building is, what are the duties of the resiliency coordinator in each building? And then, and how does it work for each of them? Is is at the middle school is, so like I know the name at the middle school is Lori Bruce because I know her. So it's like 70% of her job, McKinney, Vinto, and truancy, and 30% some days, whereas, at BPS, it's 70% some days and 30% truancy. I'd like that kind of understanding of what that resource is, because it's creative and it's wonderful, but it's fluid, and so,
We got the benefit of hearing from the principals in a few minutes too. Michelle?
Now it's on?
Like, I didn't,
Does that mean I'm
no,
on
you
now?
need to turn yours off. It's
I
not
did. Mine's
working.
off right
Okay,
now.
go ahead.
All right, so the funds that have already been released and allocated, are those part of a multi-year, because I know some of our grants are like 3-year cycles, so those are actually have been released for this year. It's not like we've heard because it's something we were already expecting.
Right, so
Okay.
every year they release the funds.
Okay, so
So
there's
that's
just-
why we have to update the comprehensive needs assessment
Right.
every year.
Okay.
And then new goals are established by the buildings and the building teams, and then we develop our grant based on that information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mandy. Appreciate this. Anything further on this topic? It sounds like we'll be coming back to it when we get this funding update, hopefully soon.
Yes.
Okay, great. I think we're now looking forward to presentation, year-end reflection from our principals. If we want to get to that, I don't know who's up first, but we'd love to hear from you.
Look at them, they're all ready.
They're all ready.
That's great. All right.
Who's up first?
I will kick us off.
Okay.
I just want to say that we have many of our principals and our directors here. In the event that they couldn't be here due to previous engagements, they've tried to tap assistants and other folks, colleagues on the shoulder to assist us with sharing some of the accomplishments from the year. So I've asked our leadership to really think about what are some goals and celebrations and summer projects. So how are they going to spend their time? Why are they spending it in that direction? What are they looking forward to? And then take a step and look in the rearview mirror. Where have you been this year, and what can you be proud of? And what are some of the things that you have done? A lot of things have happened. So the first slide, we're drawing your attention to some of the communications analytics that we have. Really important that we have made it a goal of ours to really increase our family engagement, making sure that we're trying to reach more folks in the community than before. These are some of the analytics that we have. So parent engagement, 29.6 higher open rate, 41% higher engagement rate. Sometimes when you get those small newsletters, you're clicking through really quick. And so we might have a very small window of time to share something, right? So it's really important to see these numbers increase. That means it's getting to somebody, it is working, and then hopefully as they talk to others in the community, they're sharing what they're learning from reading the newsletters. Every time we come to this meeting, we listen to the superintendent update and we talk about all of the wonderful things that are happening within our schools. And we are continually needing to work on sharing the great things that are happening. There's so much going on that sometimes things can be missed, and we're really trying to be aware of that and share more broadly of the great things that have been happening. So I'd like to call up Ms. Netto, Principal Netto, to talk about, Principal Netto. That goes back to last night when we were talking about, remember when you were in that building when you first started? Megan Schrader, thank you. So JFK and primary school.
Good evening. So JFK and primary school, as we know, the transition between the schools has allowed for a lot of collaboration through the entirety of the school year, which has been great. So some of the celebrations, we pulled together several committees that, starting in January, looked at things like the school-wide schedule, school-wide events, staff council. So all of those things provided information about what was going well in each building, what the goals for the future were for representing both buildings, what they want to see the building to become. Getting an opportunity for me to know parent council members at Biddeford Primary School, So one of our big celebrations was pulling together stakeholders from both schools, parent council, and looking at our school-wide schedule. So looking at that school-wide schedule, there had been a lot of feedback that the house system had great positive aspects to it, but then there were other pieces that became concerning for parents. An example being that we had kindergarten through second grade out on the playground, and developmentally, there were fewer children of the same age group that were able to play in the same way. So one example where we had looked at how do we create an opportunity for academic collaboration that goes beyond the classrooms at the grade level, but social engagement that stays within some of those confines of like socially appropriate developmental milestones for students. So what we were able to do from that is create a schedule where we now will have 6 teams, and we are partnering with BIS to look at their model where we are tiger cub dens, and that is a similar structure where students will again be able to move across classrooms for any sort of enrichment opportunity or reteaching opportunities, but have grade level lunches and grade level recess. In addition to that, we were able to build in a 40-minute block of designated intervention time for each team, which then allows us to look at how do we meet the needs of core instruction for students, but also allow for team-wide interventions. Again, this is a similar structure to what exists at BIS, so we're trying to keep that continuity there. This then allows for school counselor, resiliency coordinator, many of our support staff to pull social groups or academic groups. So we're really looking at who are the students on that team that have that win time, the what I need time in common, and how do we then prioritize for these students, which teacher or support person they would be working with, what would their plan be. Part of that, we try to pilot with what we're calling the Tiger Pause Room, P-A-U-S-E, and that was an idea of sometimes students just need to take a minute, right? And then how do we staff accordingly so that we're not responding to behaviors, we're preventing those behaviors. So we were looking at the lane for us as a district. We did a lot of really great work with academic interventions, and it has been a goal to move in the direction of behavioral interventions. So this was kind of our step one. How do we provide a space that has adult support for students who might just need to finish their work in a quieter setting? How do we have a space where students who have planned breaks have a destination to go so they're not walking aimlessly in a building and don't necessarily have a return time or a return path or communication back to the classroom. So this classroom is staffed by the support team. Everyone on the support team has about an hour a day that they go in and they're available. Some students have scheduled breaks, some students have just access to the classroom. That is something that we're hoping to formalize into part of that intervention block, where that could be a space where students are doing restorative practices, where they're working on individualized behavior and incentive plans where they can really talk through what's going on instead of just responding to the behaviors. We're kind of teaching the social skills that students might be needing in order to see an improvement in their behavior. So that is something that we were very proud and happy to be able to implement in January. Our next step looking forward is how do we continue to sustain that with staffing and create some parameters for what the appropriate level of teacher interaction and intervention is versus a different staff member. So those, you can see there's also a goal for us as well. There also was the implementation of the K-2 phonics program that we invested in last year, Haggerty Bridge to Reading. So that's the first time in a very long time that we've had consistency again across 2 schools and then across 3 grade levels that we're looking at. Our goals would then also be looking ahead at that is still a wonderful resource and program for early literacy learners, but with the knowledge that we've had, which I've spoken to members of this committee before and curriculum team, that is one aspect of literacy instruction. So with this new program, how are we going to then use this resource for intervention, use this resource as a reteach to support that core curriculum, and that is much more comprehensive, far more than simply phonics instruction. So our goals with all of those structures in place, we need to build that capacity for teachers for that instruction, for the behavioral MTSS, for the implementation of our newest version of Math in Focus, and again, K2 with Into Reading being new. So those are very big goals that we have. And then making sure that that RTI block, the win time that we've built in, is very intentional and data-driven so that it can be a flexible timeline for students. This is the skill. Are we seeing progress? Is it time to pull some other skills in or different students in? So big goals for us. Summer projects, again, organizing and distributing Into Reading and Math in Focus. Teachers are already, even though tomorrow's the last day, they're already asking about how can I get to learn these programs over the summer. So we're trying to inventory those as quickly as possible so some of those materials can go home with them over the summer. And with that in mind, we're identifying members of our curriculum development teams, specifically the math CDT and the literacy CDT, who will have a willingness to spend some time during the summer getting to know that program and becoming in-house experts for professional development. While both of those programs come with professional development, we really want people that are really leading it through the daily practice of what it looks like in Biddeford. So we're going to identify those people and work on those throughout the summer.
Thanks, Megan. Questions? Marie?
Sorry. I was looking at that piece where you're identifying leaders to support the rollout to facilitate the peer learning, which you just described a little
Yes.
bit. Is it just going to be people in your, in the developmental team, or are each of the teams going to have a leader focused on a particular, on the math area and the reading area, so that each team has a reading leader and a math leader?
Correct. So we're very fortunate that we've had many people step forward that are interested in being their grade level's representative to be the expert in math or be the expert in literacy. So I think we may actually be at a point that we need to identify how many people are we able to support doing this work, whether it's for some of our grant funding that we might have available. We had a grant come through from the state as well that Mandy's helped work on. But we also can potentially work with teachers about recertification hours if they're putting this into their professional development plan. So as many people as are interested in, I'd like to build a way for them to do that through either one of those lanes, or we can support it.
I just have one other.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the school board, Mandy, and the schools for getting some continuity in the two buildings with regards to these two curricular areas. I think it is so important to have that consistency and that continuity and that flow going from the primary to the intermediate. I'm ecstatic to see that happening. Thank you.
Your hair nicely done. Lisa?
Which I'll echo that, but for pivoting from the tiger theme, like that was really, the difference was just, I mean, that was something that I really struggled with, and you came in January and you saw, and I knew that Lindsay had already was setting this up, and I didn't see the reason we were changing, you know what I mean, like doing it one way in this school and one way in another. So, and you did that, and thank you for doing that, because I think we're Tigers, and that's the way it's going to be, and I think when you see something that doesn't work, then we figure it out, you know what I mean, and we pivot, and that's what happened, and so thank you for that.
Okay.
I'd like to acknowledge too, Lindsay and her team really bridged this pathway for us, so I think that's an important piece. I know you mentioned that, but even in our acronyms for the characteristics, we are Tiger at one school and Pride at the other, so we're, even that continuity about the characteristics of these dens is, like, I think very powerful and meaningful for these two schools to still have that. So a lot of thanks goes to Lindsay and her team.
All right. Nice job, Megan.
Thank you.
Lindsay, I heard your name a lot.
So Megan did make my speech a lot shorter because we are doing a lot of the similar things. One celebration at BIS for this year was that we implemented the interreading program this year and piloted that for the district. It went incredibly well. Our staff were raving about it. Our students were very excited about it. And our scores did increase. So that was all a win. And that, through the curriculum at the district level, will be implemented K1, 2, and 5 next year. So that will be continuous through all grade levels. We restructured our WIN and RTI block. We call it WIN, which is kids refer to as what I need, but it is that RTI block. This year we staggered it that there are 5 teachers within a den. One teacher would offer like an accelerated literacy piece, an accelerated math piece was offered by another teacher, and then we offered reading support, math support. Some teachers focused on spelling. We've noticed there's a really a great need for that at our age level. Some teachers worked on phonics, so it was really based on what our scores were telling us about kids. Teachers utilized one of their late work Wednesdays every month to review the data and to really meet and talk within their dens about where kids were, if that intervention was working, and if they had met their goal and needed to move to something else. Kids were really excited to visit other classrooms. They don't do that a lot at our level. So being able to go see Mr. Budd when he's not your teacher and work on phonics was super exciting. And so again, they really got to know other teachers within their den and travel at that time. We integrated the Tiger Dens starting at the beginning of this year. We really kind of built that into everything that we did. And so you can't see it very well, but the tiger at the top has stripes, and we put different characteristics like being patient and trustworthy and teamwork and all of those things on that tiger. We used to have positive office shout-outs on Fridays. We integrated that now into earning our stripes. All of those stripes are those things that are on that tiger's face that we're working on those soft skills for kids. And so every Friday, students were shouted out on announcements of if they were earning their stripes, and they would get a certificate for that. We also incorporated that into our monthly assemblies and our shout-outs for students at those where Mrs. Gway, our school counselor, rolled out those themes, explained it to kids, and then went into morning meetings to do activities with our students. And then we shouted out that they got awards, and their parents were invited to those award ceremonies as well. So those were our celebrations. Our goals definitely to update the implementation of the Math and Focus, that new version. We're going to be working on that as well as primary school. Alignment of math and literacy with our scope and sequence. So we had a scope and sequence. Now that we're updating those math materials and we've added interreading, we just want to make sure all of that aligns so that it's clear for our staff. So we'll be working on that summer work this summer as well as primary school. And we are preparing to welcome pre-K. So I had a meeting with all of those staff last week, and several of them showed up this afternoon to take a visit and a walkthrough as well. So that's our work. Any questions?
Briefly about integrating pre-K. Just talk about that a little bit more and how that's going to come together.
Sure. We've met with that staff, so they know where their spaces are going to be. We are working on support staff as far as who's going to come over to help with the first 6 weeks of kind of getting those students in and acclimated. I've had, again, 2 or 3 meetings with pre-K staff of their kiddos are in booster seats and ours are not. So do we really want their parents going through our parent pickup line where we just kind of, load and go? And so we've separated that out. They'll be on our busing in the front loop, but the parents will pick up on a side loop so that they can get out of their cars and put them in the booster seats and do all those necessary things. So a lot of work behind the scenes, meeting with Bill to make step stools. They can't reach our sinks, right? All those little minor details. But that's a big thing if you can't reach the sink, so.
Good. Well, thanks for giving that all that thought. Thanks for all you're doing. And thank you for the bike to school event. That was really wonderful. We had a lot of fun with that. Scott.
Good evening, folks. For the middle school, the first thing our team wanted to identify was the way that we celebrate our students at the school. One idea that we started this year that was new is what we call Tiger Pride Points. Staff complete Tiger Pride Points. They complete this on a Google form, and it gets collected into a database. The idea behind the Tiger Points is we want to catch kids doing things that are positive and are different, making differences in our school. It could be anything from picking up a piece of trash that somebody doesn't think that that you don't know, that somebody's noticing that you're doing, to, helping another person in a classroom or throughout the building. We're really trying to celebrate some acts of integrity that otherwise would go unseen. As of this morning, we had 297 entries. We've called all the students down, typically on Fridays. We take a photograph and put it out in our newsletter. So that was a new idea this year, in a way that we really want to make the kids feel good about the good things that they're doing in our school. We've always done Students of the Month at the middle school. That's not new. But what we did do this year that was a little bit different is we celebrated it differently. And then the third item there is morning meetings, which kind of works together with our Student of the Month. Morning meetings were something that we did for many, many years back when Marie was still teaching at the middle school. But COVID kind of interfered with that, and we've been slow to get back to that process. If you've never seen a morning meeting at Biddeford Middle School, it really is something to see. We gather together as a community. We celebrate something positive that's going on in the school. Sometimes it's accomplishments with the adults, with the kids, with ourselves as a group. Certainly our Student of the Month are awarded at these celebrations as well. So we've been able to bring that back. And then a couple of other things that I'm super proud of that I think are speared by our staff, but also the kids really taking ownership in our BMS Day of Service. There's a link there, Mandy. I don't know if you'd be willing to click on that. We can just kind of see what this video was put together by the students and the teachers at the school. It was shared with our parents. I don't know there's anything more important in teaching a kid to get back to their community and be proud of where they're from. And particularly for me, to the cemeteries on Friday to get the kids out there. And it rained on Friday. We had to move it up to Thursday, but to put flags on the grave sites of the veterans is just something that is, I'm super proud. Just super proud of our kids, our staff, and what our community, what our school has done to partner with the city. Obviously, the multicultural night is a video there. Click. I won't ask you to watch that one again. You can see that in your own time. But we did that back early in the year, and that was another event that we did. This is the second year we did this. The kids study different cultures. We have, I think, 26 different nationalities represented in our school, and our kids study them at the early part of the year, and we celebrated in a community night in December, and our kids just did a wonderful job at that as well. So very proud of what we've done here as far as the kids and celebrating the things that they do. In the areas of goals, the Biddeford Teachers Association completed a survey and identified some areas at the middle school that we think we can be better at, and that boils down to lots of different things. We're looking at implementing a group of people, a team, where we can really take a tighter look at the results of the items that we think we can be better at, grouping them into categories and really taking a hard look at all of our practices, all the things that we do, and try to be a little bit better in all the things that we do every day. And our second goal is always to try to work a little bit better with our ML students. That's an area that I think at the middle school we are always struggling to figure out how to deliver in the classroom, how to give them the best educational experience as possible. What's the right setup? What's the right makeup? Should we pull them out? Should we include them in? What are all the types? What are all the thoughts and considerations that go in to really trying to provide best practices for those kids? And that's an area next year that I'm really hoping to wrap my hands around and get some better answers for. And then, and lastly, the summer project is just a continuation of that first goal. We've identified some things that we think we need to be better at. So it's getting that off the ground. It's putting some people together, meeting with them, working collaboratively, really trying to find some solutions and some meaningful results to make the middle school the best place that it can be.
Okay, questions for Scott? John?
Great job. One question, you're going to do a song tonight or no? No ukulele and a song tonight?
Mr. Ray doesn't want to see that. I'm going to pass.
I mean,
I'm going to pass.
you
it.
did a great job.
And, well,
He did a
John,
great job the other night.
I mean, John, if he was wearing that jacket, maybe.
No, I think you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciative of that. Very appreciative of that. Thank you. Yes. Rah, rah, rah.
Okay, thank you. Good work.
So Martha was unable to be with us tonight. I am just going to reiterate some of the things that Heather Tremblay came and spoke about, I don't know, a month and a half ago. Things that they're really proud of that they want to celebrate is the Student Ambassador Program. If you remember, that's when we had students from Biddeford High School sort of pair up with other students that are coming to the high school for the first time and really engaging with them and welcoming them into the Biddeford High School community. The Bar Model Interventions, that is the program that they've been piloting or working on with a grant that was then stopped by the Maine Department of Education or the federal government. It has since been reinstated. Martha feels that her team is doing such a good job with these interventions and the learning that they've already had. She feels that they're able to continue that work in-house with the folks that they have on staff. So, there's some information there that I think is important to really focus on and trying to get a team of people that are focusing at-risk students to give them opportunities that perhaps they wouldn't have otherwise. And then we've heard about the Maine Seal of Biliteracy and the wonderful opportunity for those students that they have attained this year. Goals that they have coming up: foster and lead a collective sense of responsibility for student success. So working and developing what that looks like, looking at a vision of a graduate. What does it mean to graduate from Biddeford High School. What do we want our kids to be able to know, be able to do? And that's the work going forward. It's important that it's not only a Biddeford High School project, they're going to lead that work, but that it's really important that all these folks here and their students and families are also involved with that work next year. Open lines of communication and increased collaboration. We talk all the time about parent engagement and how that looks at the elementary level is very different than what it looks like at the high school level. So somewhere along the line, that sort of drops off a bit, right? Perhaps starts a little bit in middle school, and then maybe it gets, even lower at the high school level. So really trying to figure out ways that they can work to continually engage more families into the work that they're doing and bring them into the community. The big thing that Biddeford High School community is going to be working on is their NEASC accreditation self-study. That is a process that next spring they will have their collaborative conference visit. So the team of folks are going to come together from Biddeford High School, and they're working on identifying how they measure up against these national accreditation standards. So they're going to take a deep dive into what they're currently doing, identify where they're doing really well, and then areas that they need to really focus and work on. The collaborative conference team will come in and they'll say, yes, we agree, these areas are what we're seeing too, or maybe you want to look at this as well, because we're seeing something that perhaps you can't see right now with your lens. So that self-study work is really important. It's a beast. It requires a lot of time and a lot of energy that will go into that. The report, I'm sure, will come your way at some point, and you're going to be able to see all of the work that they've been doing and the time that they've put into getting that work underway. So that's something that they'll begin this summer, and then after school PD time, and then certainly the October PD will be a good chunk of that is going to be spent on this self-study.
Megan?
Is this our first time going through the NEASC process, or are we re-accrediting?
We are re-accrediting.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we've been there, done that with NEASC.
We have. It is a new process, so it's a little different this time, but definitely a re-accreditation process.
Mandy, do you know where we are with the implementation of the study skills for 8th grade? Is that ready to rock and roll?
I do not know enough to answer you with any sense of assurance, so I can look into that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, Mandy. I appreciate that. Good presentation. These are really great. Let me see, who do we have from APC?
Not Danielle. I'm the social worker over at APC, and Danielle couldn't be here today. So to start, a few celebrations or student accomplishments that we've had this year are, actually we had I don't know if the students came, but they wrote letters to differing departments throughout the city, and the letters were about things the students were passionate about. They wrote it in their civics class. These are shared with the school board, with you guys, and other departments within the city of Biddeford. As a result, several departments have reached out to connect with the APC staff, opening more lines of communication between APC and the broader school community. The kids really enjoyed doing that project. Our school also received the Molly Grant this year, which allowed students to immerse themselves in nature, a little, more interactive, while earning both a science and English credit. This experience empowered them to grow academically, personally. They developed lots of amazing leadership skills. And these students and teachers were invited to Mackworth Island, I believe it was back in February, where they got to present everything that they accomplished, and they met with other peers from different schools that also were part of the Molly Grant. They were featured on the news. In terms of our growth at APC this year, Danielle and the rest of our team worked with the Portland School District, where an upper admin to enroll a new out-of-district student in our school, which is an exciting step moving forward for us and APC's reach to other people that are looking into our program. And I would say Danielle and I, we
did this one. We proudly celebrated our first APC graduation class. So seeing these kids cross over was an amazing experience. I came from elementary school, so this was very special for me. It was a tremendous accomplishment for these kids and a great learning experience for Danielle and I. As far as our goals, as a team, we are actively working on a promotional APC video, not only to share with other schools and districts, but also just to highlight what our community is and the values and the visions and the opportunities that we have at APC, which is going to be awesome. The kids are really enjoying that. And we are collaborating as a staff to continue strengthening our relationships with refining our program design, with a targeted focus on helping students earn 7 credits per semester. As a team, we are working on designing a new schedule that allows students to earn more credits, especially for our 11th and 12th graders, ones who come to APC short on credits, but have the goal of graduating on time. And our summer project is we're hoping to move APC to a new designed space. And this transition will involve organizing materials, setting up learning environments, and building a space that supports our mission, and which is rooted in connection, flexibility, student success. So we're all looking forward to that, and the students are looking forward to that, for us being in a, hopefully a larger, more designed to us space.
Thanks, Ashley.
That's
That's really exciting.
I hope so.
No, it really is. It's good work. Any questions or thoughts? Megan?
I've been to a lot of graduations and a lot of ceremonies, and I just wanted to say how much I really enjoyed yours, how personal. It's a lot of work to do that, but the part of the ceremony where students present awards to each other of what they've learned from each other is brilliant and emotional. Like, I don't know these kids, and I found myself tearing up quite a few times, but it just speaks to the work of like community and safe space you guys have created. And so it was just really, really nice. I just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
This
It
is
was-
all great, but
yeah.
like that was really nice.
It was an amazing experience, especially, that was my first one, so it was awesome. Thank you.
All right, nice job. Keep up the good work. Center of Technology.
Good evening. Just got to adjust this a little bit. I'm Kim Bennett. I'm the assistant director over at COT, and Paulette is up in Augusta tonight as part of the state board, and so she apologizes for not being here. And so I hope I will do her proud. COT has a lot to celebrate. As you guys know, we opened our brand new building this year. It's really hard to look at this year how well the programs have done, to think that we weren't even in the new building in September when kids came. It's hard to think back that we had our kitchen, our culinary chef, and our hospitality teacher in regular classrooms in the original COT building. And so to have the year end, having those programs be so successful is a huge celebration for us. We have signed a memo of understanding with Pratt Whitney to do pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. That's a really new development, and we're really excited about that. And we have one recent graduate who's already enrolled in that program. And so we're super excited, and that student is from the manufacturing program. We have continued to work on integrated credits and working with our sending schools to make sure that students have opportunities to earn more credits. And I would also add, we increased our collaboration with BHS this year through combined efforts. Instead of having a career fair and a college fair at the high school and then a separate career fair at COT, we combined those efforts together to kind of get more bang for our buck and be able to do that, and that worked really well. We also did some professional development where all of the high school teachers had the opportunity to experience 3 of COT programs on one of our early release days. So the teachers signed up for programs that they were interested in. We guaranteed them 3 out of their 5 top choices, and they got to spend about a half an hour in each program, which was phenomenal. Our goals for next year is to increase the off-site learning experiences with our internships and other things. We had students this year in the community and businesses from RP Bell to architecture firms up at Casco Bay Steel, so we're hoping to increase that next year with our career pathways. And we're working on solidifying our middle school CTE program. We're piloting a program next year for 1 quarter with 8th graders and it'll be called Explore the COT, and that's a full class for next year. And again, we're just doing it for one quarter to see how that goes, but it'll give the students in 8th grade an opportunity to experience each of our programs and learn more about that and be able to hopefully be feeders to our programs. And the summer project is to hire an assistant director and onboard that person. I want to thank you all for the opportunity that I've had here in Biddeford, and I'm looking forward to my new opportunities, but I'm also sad to be leaving. But Paulette, I know this summer it's her first summer without a building project, without a construction project, and so I think that she'll put her heart and soul into getting the building what it needs as far as staffing for the summer. So it's been a great year at COT.
Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
We're sorry to see you go. That's, I didn't realize that.
Thank you, yes. Had an opportunity like within walking distance of my house that I couldn't pass up, so.
Yeah. I just want to quickly highlight the pre-apprenticeship with Pratt Whitney. That's been a long time coming, and that's a really significant achievement. Nicely done.
We're very excited. So, thank you. Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you so much. Michelle?
I just want to thank all of you for putting this together. I think it was fantastic to see all of the exciting things that have happened at the schools over the years and over the year in the different buildings, and also for us to kind of know what you're working on over the summer so that we can help support you, or just so we kind of know like what we're doing moving forward. And it's really great to see this year-end report. I don't know if we've done something, at least not in this format, so I think it was fantastic. Thank you very much.
And if you notice, it was 3, 2, 1, and what comes after 1? Blast off. No, blast off. Summertime. These guys, they get it done every single day in tough jobs, and they deserve some time off and some time, hopefully, away from the hustle and bustle of running schools. So we're very proud of the work that they do and the dedication they put in, because you know, these guys here, first thing they do in the morning, open that phone and see what's in their buildings, and the last thing they do before they shut their eyes, see what tomorrow brings. And over the course of the 6 to 7 hours that they hopefully get to sleep, a whole lot of work builds up for these guys. So great job, and we thought we'd do this as just something new.
Yeah, and same goes to you, Jeremy. I know that you put in a ton of hours. It's very intense, and thank you for this idea. I agree. I echo that. It was really nice to hear. The open rate on your emails is very high, Mandy. Thank you for that. I assume that some of this will percolate out in those emails and those communications. I'll look forward to bringing that to the council as well. So, yeah, let's keep rolling. I think we're getting a little bit tight on time here. So, Jeremy, legislative update.
Legislative update was nothing more than a memo that was on the last agenda, just where things go. Truthfully, in the last week or so, because of just the number of events, I haven't been that tied into where we are on state stuff, and over the next couple of weeks I got to get tied back in, because the session's going to end, and keep pushing for the things that we need to advocate for.
Thanks, Jeremy. The next thing is the calendar. We have it there, and thanks for getting it out, and just to highlight that there's only one meeting in July. Very good. Okay, we have a couple of, we have a field trip to look at. First, reading of overnight field trip 2025 field hockey preseason UVM Burlington game.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Chat. Were you the second?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, any discussion on that one? And I am supposed to highlight that for the minutes, and thank you for that. Okay, all those in favor? And that's unanimous. Very proud of that field hockey program. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? Okay, to the committee. Comments, thoughts? Anything to add, Marie?
Just a little shout out to our engagement last year with the Mongolian delegation. My daughter just got back about a week ago, and one of their highlights of their trip last fall happened to be their meeting of people within our city government and our school administration, and visiting the facilities here. So that was shared with me, and at the next meeting, I'll be bringing some goodies that they sent along. I forgot them this evening.
Boo. Where's our goodies? Oh,
It's
that's good.
chocolate and chocolate.
John?
I just want to give a shout out to APC for graduation. I thought that was fantastic also. The high school graduation, I thought they did a fantastic job too with the hustle, changing it around. Everything came out perfect, I thought. And then I got the honor to go to the BIS parade today, which I thought that was pretty good too, watching the kids. So I thought that was great. If anybody else got to make any of the other stuff. The only thing else I got is the school committee calendar meeting. I don't agree with it. I mean, it says we're supposed to have 2 meetings a month, and that's what we're supposed to have, so I don't particularly care that we're not following the charter. Thank you.
I have one.
Megan?
Along that same line, there was 8th grade promotion last night, and not only did staff do a great job with organizing that event, but like it was packed. Like, talk about family engagement, right? I mean, like grandparents and parents and aunts and uncles and friends and woohoos, and it was just really nice to see the community come out and really buy into that, since we had a little reprieve from it. So like, I think it was really appreciated by the families.
We had a few students bust some pretty good moves coming down to pick up their certificates as well. So it was good to see just the joy and the excitement around the event. So again, a job well done, and congratulations to all our 8th graders moving into their high school programming.
And thank you for putting that together. I know that was much desired by the community, and it's awesome to see it be such a success.
And I want to also say, like, your speech about why, that they're in the same building, but this is why, this is a different move, I thought really kind of made the event, kicked it off the right way. So, nice speech.
Clearly, anytime I speak, we know what makes the event.
Oh, my God. I'm done talking.
Doug, turn off his microphone.
So on July 9th, the meeting in July, I will be in DC advocating for federal funding and pieces that I do every summer. So if I watch the tape and I see that Chris and Mandy get out of here in under 25 minutes, you guys are pay, like, you're gonna keep them here in the summertime, so, no short meetings that month, and put them through the ringer, so.
All right, I got the memo. Two very quick things for me. Locker Mess Parade is Friday the 20th. New route starting at BIS, and please come out and see it. Council meeting on Tuesday. Lots of really important agenda items, including new city manager, new Pearl Street neighborhood. Please come out Tuesday at 6. Adult Ed graduation is on Friday. That's always a wonderful event at the Rec Center, and please come to that. And just thank you to the team and the staff and all the schools, obviously, with tomorrow being the last day. It's been a great year. It was very rewarding to be at graduation, and thanks to the committee and to the staff for all that you do. And with that's all that I have. Take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Okay, see you soon.